Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis was a huge success for Sega back in 1991. It did pretty much everything Sega hoped for it to achieve and then some. It gave them a new must-have game exclusive to them, and they were finally able to compete with Nintendo's Mario with their new mascot Sonic, which would create probably the biggest rivalry in all of gaming, even though now it's kind of one-sided because goddamn. So what's the best way to capitalize off a highly successful media franchise? That's right, spank the number 2 on it, as well as release it on a Tuesday, since that kind of sounds like that one number I can't really put my finger on. On November 21st, 1992, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was released to the public, with the same amount, if not more critical acclaim than the first, scoring 90% or above on the majority of all gaming magazines at the time. Sonic 2 even became the best-selling game on the Sega Genesis, selling more than 6 million units during the console's lifespan, only behind the first game, so that came bumped in with the console, so it only makes sense. So why don't we actually get to reviewing Sonic 2 and answer the question, does it improve on the formula established in the first game? Yes it does. The premise of this game is more the same from Sonic 1 with a few differences. Dr. Robotnik is up to no good again, encapsulating all the woodland creatures of Sonic's home, so Sonic sets out to put a stop to Dr. Robotnik's evil plans. Although this time the stakes are a lot higher, since you literally go to fucking space at the end of the game. You know, this was back in 1992 and people still looked at Sonic Colors and called it a Mario Galaxy clone simply because he was in space. So by that logic, so is Air Bud. However, there's one new addition that really separates this game's story from the first, and that's Sonic's brand new sidekick. Enter Miles Tails Prower, or as everyone with a functioning brain calls him, Tails. Tails is the fox who got fucked by genetics or something and has 2 tails which allow him to fly, by rotating them with the helicopter. And he's also pretty good with mechanical stuff and has his plane that gets fucking shot down by Robotnik. Now honestly, I think Tails is a great addition to the series. Not only do I like his personality adapted in later entries, but in this game it just makes it feel so much more organic, how you're going on an adventure and have a little buddy with you, you know? Also, I was forced to connect with Tails, and I was always forced to be player 2 since I was the younger brother, but that's not important. A lot of people when talking about Sonic 2 complain that Tails is annoying and he always gets in your way, but like, does he really? I've never had any issues with him, honestly, or at least recording footage for this video. Like, his AI is as smart as a brain-dead 2-month-old monkey, but all he really does is run around, get hit by badniks and other shit, even though he has infinite lives. Heck, I mean, even sometimes in boss fights, he can actually be really helpful scoring good a bunch of hits. Now, there is one exception to this where it makes me want to tear my hair out and make a Doki Doki Literature Club reference, but we get there when we get there. Now, why don't we talk about all the changes Sonic 2 makes to the core gameplay, since it is a sequel after all. In my opinion, what a sequel should do is fix all the issues with the first, if any, flesh out all the already existing ground rules with new things to have fun with and create ways, as well as bring new features to the gameplay or story, not only to make it stick out, but to make the game better in general. Now, does Sonic 2 achieve this? Yes. At its core, it isn't too far from what was established in Sonic 1, a faster than average 2D platformer with a mix of platforming and speed sections, a lot of which I already went over in my Sonic 1 review, so I don't want to dwell on those any longer. But that's looking at it on a surface level, so there are a lot of more things to mess around with. First of all, what I believe to be the best invention since the porn industry in 1895, the spin dash. By crouching with the down button and getting permanent hand injury, you can perform what is the spin dash and immediately gain a load of speed, kicking you off right where you started, allowing you to not have to spend like 5 seconds building up momentum to cross that one loop you weren't able to get across. Now here, it isn't as broken as the spin dash in Sonic Generations, which is literally the spin dash on crack, but it is usually enough to help you get across whatever obstacle you're trying to, or just, you know, go fast, because why not? This is a great addition since it makes the pace of the game so much more consistent and tolerable. Now there are some zones in Sonic 1 that were decently fast, and others that were literally you waiting for slow platforms to move across lava for half the runtime. Another change Sonic 2 made to the formula is that all zones are reduced to 2 acts instead of 3. This makes the zone drag on for way less than it did in the first, since in some zones, for example Marble Zone, it got pretty clear how repetitive it was. Just make your way through these caves while riding these platforms on the lava, waiting for the chandeliers, and smashing your head into a wall because you hate Marble Zone. In Sonic 2, any repetition is a lot less obvious, but to make up with the lesser amount of actual levels, all the acts have been fleshed out a lot more, containing multiple paths to reach the goal, each containing their own goodies. Sonic 2 does introduce some new badniks, but they're not really anything to write home about, at least not yet, and trust me, we'll get there. They also changed not only the special stages themselves, but the way you get to them. The special stages in the first game are something I wasn't really the biggest fan of. To summarize, it doesn't really feel like you're in control of the stage, and the actual level design makes it really hard to nab 50 rings in the end of the level. In Sonic 2, the way you unlock them is by getting 50 rings and crossing a checkpoint, in which these stars will start swirling around, and by jumping in, you're greeted with the half pipe. Basically, how the half pipe works is that you're in this half pipe, wow, really no way, and you have to collect a certain number of rings to progress to the next wave while dodging any obstacles in your way. And after 3 waves, you'll get 1 out of the now 7 Chaos Emeralds. That is, if you actually succeed. Now, I don't think this is a bad concept on paper, but the execution here is just terrible. First of all, these require a fair amount of memorization, so that probably means there'll be some special stages you'll have a few tries on before passing. But the main issue with its reliance on memorization is that you can't see very far ahead of you, so you have to have very fast reaction speeds to not get hit during all these. Also, Tails. Fuck Tails, man. Tails is by far the worst part of the special stages. Basically, the main obstacle to avoiding these stages are the bombs that upon colliding with you'll lose 10 rings. Already quite a hefty setback, so that's usually 20% of all the rings you'll need. But how Tails works in these special stages is that he follows your every move, but does everything maybe a second after you do it. So not only do you need very fast reaction times to avoid these bombs, but if you end up successfully avoiding them, there's an extremely high chance Tails won't dodge fast enough after you, and you'll get hit anyway, which makes them nearly fucking impossible to play. Also, for some reason, after jumping into a special stage, regardless if you got the emerald or not, you lose all of your rings after leaving. Not even just 50, so that's the entrance fee. You lose your entire stock of rings. So most of the time, even if I am able to enter a special stage, I choose not to so I can save them up for an extra life from getting 100. Now, I already know what you guys are saying. Just play the game without Tails, problem solved. Yeah, you're right. Playing without Tails makes the half-pipe way more tolerable, albeit still not the best. But honestly, I don't really like that playing with Tails because, I mean, come on, it's nice to have a little buddy with you on your adventure. And it just feels wrong without him, you know? Plus, you can bully him in debug mode. So yeah, the special stages are shit. They're the second worst war crime humanity has ever committed, right behind the Second World War. However, unlike the first game, you get more than just a different ending upon collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds. In any level, if you collect 50 more rings and press the A button while in midair, you can transform into Supersonic. Supersonic is essentially God mode. You can run extremely fast and obliterate any enemy that is unfortunate enough to be in your path. Except you are vulnerable to being crushed and drowning, which will probably never have happened to you since you'll be in the water for like 5 seconds because of the pure amount of speed Supersonic packs. The only caveat to this is that after activating it with a 50 ring threshold, your ring counter will slowly decrease, and once it hits 0, you'll revert back to your normal form. So you still have to at least collect rings. I do think Supersonic is a good reward for collecting all the Chaos Emeralds, but I don't really think it's worth it considering how much of a pain in the ass the special stages are. Plus, you can just input a cheat code in the level select screen. Now, why don't we talk about the actual level design? In my opinion, the level design here is significantly better than the first game. There's a lot less slow platforming, and the level design relies a lot less on trial and error, for the most part at least. The zones are also a lot more vibrant than the first game, which had kind of a darker color palette. And like I mentioned earlier, the zones only last for 2 acts rather than 3, albeit with more fleshed out levels and more paths to explore. So why don't we do a rundown of all the zones that this game has to offer while talking about my opinion on each of them. Emerald Hill Zone. Emerald Hill is basically like Green Hill's cousin, but a lot more vibrant. It's a great introduction to the game, and in my opinion, one of the best zones this game has to offer. It's also home to one of the easiest bosses, massive air quotes there, gaming has to offer. I can seriously do this with my eyes closed. I've played the game so many times. Chemical Plant Zone. Chemical Plant is an interesting stage. It's probably the fastest zone in the game, not only containing a fuck ton of loops and slopes, but dash panels, which allow you to kick off and go so fucking fast, you may even be able to outrun the camera. This is also a semi-water level, although it is kept to quite the minimum here. In Act 2, there's this one part where you're underwater making your way up that really isn't that bad, but I remember struggling a lot with it when I was like 5. I also thought Knuckles was called an enchilada, not an echidna, so that isn't too surprising. Also, I cannot begin to tell you how many times I've died as soon as I enter the boss fight since the floor on the edges starts flipping up and down. Aquatic Ruin Zone. Here we have what is essentially this game's water theme stage, although unlike its deformed cousin Labyrinth, the majority of the level isn't even spent underwater. In fact, if you're skilled enough and can stick to the upper routes, you can avoid the water entirely. Also, the grounders here are super annoying since now they jump out of the walls like the fucking Kool-Aid Man. Casino Night Zone. This zone was the first of many to incorporate one of the staple features of Sonic games, gambling. Yeah, this game is definitely for the kiddies. All that aside, it's another decent zone, although I'm not a huge fan of all the springs and pinball stuff that'll bounce you back, since it can make you quite annoying to play at times, and it'll make you crush your controller if you're playing the 2-player mode. Hilltop Zone. This zone always struck me as just okay, to be honest. Something super interesting about it. Visually, it's the word-for-word definition of the word reskin, basically just being Blue Emerald Hill with lava and shit. Level design isn't bad here, just not that interesting, and the music is kind of irritating, to be honest, especially that or whatever you hear in the beginning. So yeah, not a bad zone, but not much to go from house to house preaching about like a fucking Jehovah's Witness. Mystic Cave Zone. Another alright zone. Like with Hilltop Zone, there isn't really anything that makes me want to throw my controller out of all because it's just shit, but it isn't a zone I'll piss myself in excitement when seeing the title card. Although Act 2 of the zone is home to the legendary Shit Pit, which has become infamous in the Sonic fandoms, and it's just a pit of spikes not even Supersonic can escape. You know, imagine being a Sega employee back in 1992, going home to your beautiful wife, then she asks, "How was work?" for you to respond, "Oh, nothing special, just as on a level there's a pit in an easily accessible location that you can't escape no matter how hard you try." What's that, honey? You're filing for divorce? However, if you're playing the mobile port or the Origins collection, if you're watching this in like 2022, the Ship Pit is transformed into a gateway to a brand new zone, Hidden Palace, which was originally cut from the game early on, along with a bunch of other zones, since Sonic 2 originally featured way more zones than the 11 in the retail release, but were scrapped due to hardware limitations. I pulled out my foot and tried it for myself, and I think it's a great zone. One of the best the game has to offer, to be honest. That is, when you even count this as it wasn't in the original release. It even has a totally original boss, which it's cool they added it, although I'm not really the biggest fan of the boss itself, since it's pretty annoying. Oil Ocean Zone. To be frank, I was never really a fan of this zone, so you won't see me wearing any Oil Ocean for the Win shirts out in public. I don't know if it's the music, the level design, or the aesthetics, but none of it really clicks with me. The musical track accompanying the zone isn't bad, but I don't ever think to myself, what should I listen to? Oh, I got it. Oil Ocean from Sonic 2. Honestly, this zone kind of just feels dry. It isn't as vibrant as most of the zones, and the level design can get decently annoying with some of the enemies. And these green pot thingies the game loves using I didn't like very much. It was annoying to have to wait for them. And there are these sections with the cannons that just made it feel pretty automated. Metropolis zone. So we meet again, huh? Metropolis is by far the worst normal zone in the game. Actually, calling it normal will be a bit of a stretch, honestly. Playing Metropolis zone is like looking both ways before you cross the street, seeing no cars, then you get hit by a fucking plane. So first of all, the stage loops vertically for some reason, which may not seem that bad so there are no bottomless pits, but it can get super annoying getting lost. And also you're gonna be falling down a lot because, oh my fucking god, the enemy design. This has to be the worst enemy design I've ever seen in a video game. Literally all the enemies in this zone were specifically put in spots where you can never see them fucking coming. And even better, with all of them you have to hit them from the behind, which is almost impossible 95% of the time. Even if you see them coming, you'll still barely have any fucking time to react. The zones also feature these gear things that are annoying because they put these star badniks that burst projectiles out at you, and if they hit you down, you're basically fucked and have to find another route. Oh, but the damn crabs, the damn crabs! As soon as they spot you, they'll punch you with their extendable arms, but they're literally always placed in spots where you can never see them coming. Oh, but oh my god, the fucking slicers. These guys are like the crabs, but instead of punching, they throw their arms at you like a boomerang. But for some reason, slicers are always used in high places, so the majority of the time you'll fall down a good chunk of the level, which is where the vertical looping becomes an issue. But this section right here is by far the worst. You bounce up these walls and oop, there's a slicer, there's almost no way to dodge, let alone see it coming. The only time I was able to get past it is because the game glitched and clipped me through the wall. But even when he didn't have his nails and I spin dash into him, he was specifically 1 pixel away so I couldn't spin dash into him. And this fucking shit goes on for 3 acts too. Why? I don't care if it's the last zone and it should be hard. There are more ways to make a zone hard besides making it long as hell with incredibly unfair enemy placement. What the fuck? Sky Chase Zone. Sky Chase is a pretty relaxing zone, similar to Starlight from Sonic 1. In this zone, you're on Tails' plane chasing Robotnik after you escape to Metropolis, and yeah, the zone is pretty short. It's an auto-scroller, so all you really need to do is just stay on the plane and kill any badniks you see. My only real issue is that the hitboxes can be kinda wonky, although this zone is like 2 minutes, so these issues aren't dwelled upon for very long. Wing Fortress Zone. As soon as this zone starts, Tails is shot down by Robotnik, leaving you to jump onto the aircraft all by yourself. This zone never fails to make me extremely anxious, since one little mistake and you can fall all the way down to your doom. There's a shortcut you can take by using your invincibility frames to go through this fan that can essentially skip like half the level, but I didn't use that for this footage because I wanted to keep things fair. Also, the boss is really annoying since you have these platforms spinning around everywhere with spikes on the bottom, so yeah, fuck this boss. Oh, but you can't forget this part. Why? Oh, but the music is nice. But right after you defeat Robotnik, he retreats and you chase him and holy shit, Tails, you're alive! With the power of ignoring common sense, Sonic manages to grab onto Eggman's aircraft and hang on as he brings it to literal outer space and into the Death Egg Zone. Just like Sonic's 1 final zone, you get absolute 0 rings, and instead of 1 boss, you have 2. Now that's great. First, we have Silver Sonic. His boss has him rolling around the screen like Sonic does in his ball form, except touching him kills you. And oh yeah, sometimes he'll jump in the air. My only complaint with this one is that it requires a decent amount of memorization, which isn't the easiest thing because you have 0 rings. If you're playing on an actual Genesis, there's no way to save. After that boss, it's time to go head to head with the Doctor himself. And what the fuck? How is he outrunning me? Enter the Death Egg Robot, the final boss of Sonic 2. Can I just say that I love the aesthetics here? You're all the way up in outer space. Tails is gone. You have 0 rings. The music does a great job of building the tension of the situation. And in front of you is this overwhelmingly huge robot from Dr. Robotnik. This is the final showdown. But the actual boss sucks ass. Okay, so basically he does this walk cycle that jumps into the air and tries to crush you, which is incredibly easy to avoid the spin dash. He'll throw his arms at you a few times, rinse and repeat until you hit him 12 fucking times and the boss ends. My main complaint is that it's just super unclear when you're supposed to hit him, especially during the walk cycle, because I've gotten away with stupidly close hits, and other times I've died where it makes no fucking sense. And keep in mind, not only can you not afford to take a single hit, but not if. When you die, you have to beat Silver Sonic again, which like I said, requires pretty fast reflexes, so oh boy, talk about a difficulty spike. I mean, yeah, this is the final boss, but either way, this is still way harder than anything the game throws at you before. After just barely surviving the Death Egg Robot, the Death Egg starts going down rapidly as Sonic jumps out, but then we get this awesome ending animation, massive air quotes there, look, it was 1992, as Sonic plummets down towards the earth after defeating Robotnik. But just in time with the music, Tails comes in and saves Sonic with the splint as the credits begin to roll soon after, and man, I love this ending. The music, one of the best tracks in the game, so calming, and it makes you feel so victorious after the Death Egg Sonic zones, and the melody during the staff roll is great. I highly recommend looking it up and listening for yourself. Now, that's all the main zones this game has to offer, but what else does Sonic 2 have to offer? Well, more than the first game at least. Besides getting all the Chaos Emeralds and unlocking Super Sonic, the game does feature a brand new 2-player versus mode, accessible through the main title screen. Here, you and another friend can race through 3 select zones as well as the special stages if you really hate each other. Surprisingly, these are actually the full original zones, even with new music for 2-player, which all sound awesome. Although unfortunately the split screen doesn't look the best. And oh my god, the frame rate is horrendous. Honestly, I think 2-player in this game is good fun. My friend and I had a lot of fun screaming at each other while trying to race through all the zones as well as endure the shitty special stages. Although Sonic 2 isn't really the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to 2-player action. Aside from the added bonus content, that's all Sonic 2 has to offer, really. It's roughly 2 hours to beat normally, and I think Sonic 2 is a fantastic game, and an even better sequel to the original, doing just about everything a sequel should set out to do and more, fixing any issues and fleshing it all out like hell. This one is a great introduction not only to the classic games of the entire series, since it gets you familiar with Sonic's speedy gameplay way better than Sonic 1 can. However, before we dive into Sonic 2's proper sequel, let's take a little detour into the failed Sega Genesis add-on, the Sega CD, with one of the only good games on there, Sonic CD, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.